at what point do you realize that you're starting to experience serious burnout?
I twitch, drinking 4 cups of coffee a day.
I had the eye twitch, girl.
But I was like, oh, it's fine.
Everything's fine.
Just part of being a founder,
no
surely.
It happens. But how do you know the difference between this is hard and this is not right for me?
The inner critic is so loud. The unworthiness is so loud. The sense of deficiency, inadequacy, not enoughness. And then you just like constantly feel like you're behind.
What types of healing work did you do that helped you process?
There was some time where I just had to sit on the couch and like watch Sex and the City for a little bit of time.
That can be very healing.
Yeah.
Walking down the street, thinking about her exit, breaking down the steps so every founder gets it. She's the exit whisperer, she's opening the door. It started with a whisper, now that whisper's gonna roar. She just sold her company, and here you get the real story. Shh, you could be next. Walking down the street, thinking about her exit.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Exit Whisperer. I am so honored today because I'm having someone on the show. I actually normally don't allow people on the show who haven't been through an acquisition or merger in some capacity where a company is exchanged for another or merged or something along those lines. A transaction has occurred. But on this episode, I wanted to bring someone on who was a founder who simply walked away. She exited by going right out the door. She was not in a space where she was physically able to continue running her company. And the reason I am having her on is because I think so many of us who are listening to this show experience burnout in some capacity. Like right now, you might be feeling really exhausted, and you might be feeling really distracted, and you might be feeling like totally trapped in your business and you can't get out. Why? Because it would be a failure, or, you have co-founders or whatever the reason. And today I'm going to introduce you to Roslyn McLarty. She was one of the co-founders of The Gist, walked away from a fast-growing funded company because she just felt that she couldn't do it another minute. And as many of you guys know, the body keeps the score. So Roslyn now coaches around burnout experience. And I wanted to have her on today to talk about that because my hope is that I get to each and every one of you before you reach that point. So many founders call me when they are in burnout mode and ask me to sell their business. And it's actually the worst time to sell your business because when you're on the down and you're miserable and you're tired, an acquirer sees it. And so my hope is that Roslyn gives you some of the tools that are needed to make sure that you are able to take your business through the end. And if you're not, to know that there's no shame in that. I want what's best for you, and whatever is best for you, only you will really know. Take a listen to Roslyn. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. And this is a different kind of interview today because you are definitely an exited female founder, but you left and walked away from your business.
Yeah.
That is really hard and something that many, many women listening to this show right now are probably thinking about as we speak. And so I would love to hear your story, how you got to where you are and the path you are on now, which I think is so deeply needed. I want to start with the start. Okay, so the company we're talking about today is The Gist. Talk to me about how you got into this.
Yeah, for sure. So The Gist, it's a digital sports media company focused on serving women and underserved sports fans in a very male-dominated space, as we know. The idea came about really organically, just 2 friends from business school talking about the problem, feeling not really welcome in the sports industry, wanting to be a part of it, but not really feeling like it was for us. And inspiration just struck, and so we were like, all right, let's go for it.
Straight out of business school.
No, we had all been working in different corporate jobs. I was at PwC in a transaction services role, which I did not love at all. So it wasn't hard to give that up.
Okay, I'm going to take a chance. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you start this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it bootstrapped initially or do you raise?
Yeah. So initially, well, actually it was on the side of our desk for about a year.
Okay.
Of just kind of feeling it out,
Yep.
getting a sense of our customer,
Yep.
starting to grow our audience a little bit. We had enough traction to win this $100,000 non-dilutive grant, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah, totally.
And so we were like,
Kudos.
okay, if we get this, we're all going to quit
and
do it. And so we got it. And so that was really the start. But we did end up raising more, but it was very scrappy, I would say, along the way. Because at that point, as we were going out to raise, it was a media company, not like a sexy technology company.
Let alone a media company, but a media company focused around unrepresented sport, women in sports and other unrepresented players. So like that's tough for raising.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was tough. We did not get bites from traditional VC.
Okay.
It was very much our own networks, angel investors, people that we could sell on the problem and the opportunity, the big gap we were seeing in the market, to bet on us as a founding team, incubators, accelerators, grants. Eventually, as we built out our audience and started to be able to monetize, because we really built this brand around leveling the playing field in sports. And it was at a time when we were starting to see the shift towards women's sports being more in the mainstream and people caring about that. And so brands were interested in being a part of that story. And so as we were able to start monetizing and have traction in that way, that's when we were able to raise a little bit more. The investors wanted to see the real numbers.
Right. They needed to see that you had to prove yourself first, which is unlike many of our male counterparts. They just hand you the money, pre-revenue. You had to prove yourself. Okay, so you prove yourself. How many co-founders were there and what was your role specifically? Like where was your space of excellence?
Yes. So that's an interesting question. So I have 2 co-founders.
Yep.
One of them was like the super sports fan, and then the 2 of us were more like felt the problem.
Okay.
The one who loved sports, she was our head of content.
Okay.
It was just very natural fit.
Makes sense.
My other co-founder headed up all of our revenue and sales. And then I was in the operations, finance, and growth seat, which I say it's an interesting question because you said
what's
your role of
excellence? Yes.
And it wasn't.
Those are very, very different things, by the way.
Yes.
Finance, operations, and growth.
Yeah.
So basically, it was like, I could see it. I see like revenue, sales. Like, I get that. Content, sports lover, get that. And then like the catch-all for everything.
Yeah. And like, it didn't feel like a natural expression of my gifts, as I've come to realize now. I grew up in a family with 2 parents that were CPAs and ran an accounting firm together.
Okay.
And so I very much learned that financial literacy and business acumen is how, you are going to be valuable in the world and create safety for yourself and all these things.
Yes.
So I got my CPA, worked at a professional services firm, totally out of alignment. But it's still, when I started The Gist and took on that head of finance and operations role, it just felt like how I was supposed to bring value to the company.
Yeah.
And as much as I a part of me really does love like the numbers and the analytics and that side of things. But there's another side of me that is very creative and strategic and loves like working with people, like very obsessed with personal development, coaching, connecting with people really authentically, healing people, as I'm realizing now. That wasn't really being expressed in that role.
Okay, so do you think you knew that how quickly did you know that? Because what I hear now on the raise and what we're talking about is like, obviously the company caught traction fairly quickly. People started to invest in you, and as you know, of course, and hopefully as all of you know, like once the train starts going, like it really starts to snowball and go very quickly. You're in this role. How quickly do you realize that you are, as you would say, feeling out of alignment?
It's funny because I don't think I had the relationship with myself at the time to see the signs. And it's almost like I didn't want to, because the question of like, how do I provide value outside of this role when I have been in this path my whole life felt scary. and we'll probably get into this, but I had this feeling of kind of like imposter syndrome, unworthiness, where I didn't feel like I had permission to even say like, hey, this isn't working for me. I want to do something else. I thought that's like, was how I was bringing value, and that there wasn't an option.
I will share with you that I had a very similar experience for 14 years of running Likeable, because when my husband and I started it together, we noticed that social media was a thing. It was 2007. It was that was going to be it. We had to jump in and lean in. But I felt deeply disconnected and challenged by social media, and was placed in this position with my partner as we're growing this rapidly growing business, to ideate, to create, to strategize around something that didn't feel authentic to who I was.
Yeah.
I did it for 14 years with that. I did like the way that I made myself feel better in that space was I focused on building a very healthy business and the people. Like I was like, okay, I'll not think about that part, about the fact of like, you know, Meta and all these things and, you know, the advertising, the political ramifications and all that stuff. Like I could just focus on that, and I held on to that piece. But I will tell you that when it was over, I felt like I could find my way to alignment in a way that I hadn't experienced before. So I just wanted to share that with you to say, and I had imposter syndrome the whole time because I'm like, what the hell am I advising people on social media for? I like wish I could turn it off and never ever be there.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say I totally get that. And I also totally get when something like finance is an important role, you're in an important place. And so therefore you're deeply valued, but you're valued for something that is not really who you are.
Exactly.
Oh,
I think there's two pieces there.
Yeah.
There's like the role misalignment, and then there's like the deeper purpose misalignment.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I love and deeply believe in the Gist's mission.
Of course.
And the impact that it's having.
fantastic.
But it's not my personal mission. It's not like what I feel like I came here to do. It's not what's like naturally energizing and like how I want to be of service.
So at what point do you recognize you have this fast growing, valuable company that you are a co-founder of? And at what point do you realize that you're starting to experience what you would, I assume, refer to as like serious burnout?
Yeah. Yeah. So June of 2023, so probably 5.5 years in. And it's not even like the starting signs. I ignored all the little signs up until the point where it was just like I woke up one morning and I was like, something is really not okay. Like, I just feel terrible in my body. I'm like emotionally at my wit's end with like the tiniest thing. Like emails are making me cry. I feel this like shameful, I felt very ashamed at the time, apathy towards my company, which, you know, you've built it all this time. You are so identified with it and your future with it and all the things. And so it's just, it feels so shameful to be like, I don't care. I can't motivate myself to care about this anymore. In that moment, felt really lost. I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what my options are.
Right. What do you do? Because you end up being sort of trapped there. You feel trapped, at least.
Yeah. I mean, like what ended up happening was not even like a glimmer of an option in my mind, which is that I ended up moving on from the company at the time. I mean,
because you never pictured that would be the option.
No, because you just like.
So you're having these physical manifestations of burnout. You ignore the little signs, which I want to know about what the little signs are for people to look out for. But you experience this, you start thinking about options, but none of those options at the time were yet, I'll walk away.
Oh no. I was just like, okay, how can I hire some people maybe to like
change my role up?
Yeah. Or just like to delegate some of the stuff that's I'm not enjoying. I call my co-founders and tell them how I'm feeling. They're very like empathetic, obviously, but I think none of us understand like the full extent of like that level of burnout that I was at. And so some of the solutions were like, yeah, take a long weekend, you know, let's keep working on the hiring. when it was like already past that point. So I keep trying to work through it basically for another 3 months. I'm like, I'll just really try and get focused and like do only these certain things and make this higher, which as we know, it's like another thing on your plate on top of your existing role.
Of course.
I have this vacation planned where I'm like, I'm just going to get to this vacation and then I'll go on the vacation and I'll get back and it's fine. And it's not fine. My like performance starts to slide. I like go on the vacation, I come back, I don't feel any different. And so it gets to the point where my co-founders are like, we think you maybe need to take some time off. Which I was like, what? Like, how could I possibly take 3 months off, 4 months off? Like, who's going to do everything? But eventually I come to that realization myself that I'm going to have to. And in that time away, first of all, I just like allow my body to recover because it's just been like chronically activated this whole time. And I start to do some of the healing work that I think around some of the things that were contributing to this deeper source of burnout. And I start to realize that it's not actually feeling aligned for me anymore as I have space from the company and as I start to peel back these layers of myself. And like, I still, on the other hand, I'm like, don't want to accept it at all.
Right. Because probably resistant. The part of you that had been trained through your entire life, right? Like who you should be or what you should do is probably really struggling with that. And yet through the work that you're doing, you're realizing that this is no longer tenable for you.
Yeah.
Do you come back after the break?
No.
You never come back.
And I never come back. I mean, I come back briefly to transition my team. At the same time, actually, it just so happened my co-founders, well, I guess the three of us were bringing in another leader in the company. And so it works out well that he's kind of able to take on some of my role. Another co-founder is able to take on another part and figure that out.
So you surrender it all and say bye. Okay. So let's talk about a couple of things.
Yeah.
First, I want to know, before I get to like, you know, yay, here's how I learned and found my alignment and where I am. I'm interested in two things. What are the signs that you ignored that looking back are now clear?
Yeah. I mean, I was so out of connection with my body that I was just like ignoring, you know, this chronic pain that I was feeling in my neck and shoulders that actually persisted for like a year and a half after my burnout. Eye twitch. Drinking 4 cups of coffee a day.
I had the eye twitch, girl. Okay.
But I was like, oh, it's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Just part of being a founder,
no
surely.
It happens. Yeah, exactly.
I was starting to have like dread, like existential dread.
But how do you know the difference between this shit is hard and this shit is not right for me? Like how can you, when you're work, I know you do a ton of work now with founders, like helping them regenerate after burnout and all of that stuff. But like, how do you differentiate a hard time between an untenable experience?
Yeah. I think only the person themselves can truly know that deep down. Like when I think back to the things that burned me out, like a lot of the deeper stuff, like there just was some healing that like needed to happen. And I think it's possible to do that in the founder seat. If, you know, you care enough about the company and it does feel aligned on some level and there are things about it that feel aligned for you. I think if it's like misaligned and you're burnt out,
then you have a real problem. Okay. So when you mentioned you go on the like sabbatical that ends up being permanent, you talked about doing some healing work then. What types of healing work did you do that helped you process?
Yeah. One of them was just like starting to take care of my nervous system and body and like just even starting to have a relationship with my body. There was some time where I just had to sit on the couch and like watch Sex and the City for a little bit of time.
That can be very healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's what you need. Like sometimes before you even are ready to be in a place where you can do the deeper healing, you have to just like rest your body and get back to the place where you have the capacity to do that when your nervous system is fried. I worked with a burnout coach, which was incredibly helpful in starting to unwind a lot of the limiting beliefs that were in place. I think something that I believed when I was burnt out, and that's very common for people when they're burnt out, is like the inner critic is so loud. The unworthiness is so loud. The sense of deficiency, inadequacy, not enoughness, like it's all so loud. And so it was just like starting to unwind some of those beliefs of like, I didn't deserve to be there. My contribution wasn't enough. Like I'm worthless.
Yeah. Got it. That's really, I think, important for people. I speak to founders all the time because the thing is, when people come to me, they say, Carrie, I want to sell my business because I'm burnt out, which as you know, is like the worst time to actually sell a business, right? Yeah. So it's like, you have to get them back into a good space in order to if you want to sell a company. And in order to do that, you have to change their voice inside what's going on and really do that inner work to get there. And it's hard.
Yeah. So much of like the reason why someone might be in fight or flight is because of the pressure they're putting on themselves. Like they're setting their targets here because they're like, if I'm not here, I am not enough. And then it feels really scary when you are not meeting that, probably due to things outside of your control, if we're honest, a lot of the time. And then you just like constantly feel like you're behind. And it's like you actually set those targets yourself. Like
you're in control. You're technically in control of it. I know. I mean, I have that all the time. And I always think about that.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you. So you go on the sabbatical, you do the healing work, you come back, you're like, okay, I'm going to transition. You've transitioned. It's day one. How are you? How's day one? Do you immediately feel better? Do you feel miserable? Where are you on day one?
Yeah, it's such a mix. It's all of those things. It's grief, you know, for letting go of the company that you built, the team, the co-founder relationship, which is like a marriage.
It is.
And so like letting go of that is very sad.
It is.
Letting go of the future that you imagined with the company, letting go of your identity. So there's a lot of grief. There is relief, huge relief for me. Like, oh my God, I don't need to do this thing that's like so out of alignment anymore. There is some hope and excitement, but there's also a lot of fear of the uncertainty. And so what I would suggest for anybody who is like on day 1 or 2 or month 1 or whatever of being in that transition, coming out of your company, is just giving yourself the space to process those feelings. Because I think for so many of us who are entrepreneurs to begin with, we can be type A, we can be these ambitious people. And so the instinct is like, okay, I'm going to figure out my next thing, I'm going to start. And without taking the time to process your feelings and start to unwind those patterns that got you there in the first place, you risk just like getting yourself into something that maybe isn't aligned for you.
Yeah. I know I told you this, but one of my only regrets was not taking time between Likeable and the exit after working for 3 years for the acquirer and starting this. And what's crazy is I love this.
Yeah.
This is my alignment. This is my happy space. But I still needed the time. And I often wonder if at some point that will catch up. Like me, I'm thinking maybe I'll build it and then like take a little mini sabbatical and like build it so that I don't, I'm trying to build it intentionally without burnout. I'm trying, but I am a little addicted to burnout sometimes. I mean, you may know a lot about that experience, but I'm addicted to just the go of it. It's very hard.
Yeah. So there's like 2 things there, which I think that's important that you mentioned. There's like finding your thing that's aligned, which is so important.
Yep.
But the other side of that is like doing it in a way that is aligned.
Yes.
And if you don't take the time to figure out those patterns and to heal the core wounds, you can end up being in that place where, again, you're doing an aligned thing, but it might be out of that deficient place again.
Yes. And this is why you are so needed on the show. Okay. Question. So you leave. How much of a safety net do you have? Do you need to start earning right away, or are you in a position where you can give yourself a little time? Like, where are you in that space?
I'm very fortunately in a position where I can give myself some time.
Good. Thank goodness. So you had the time to then figure out what was next. Okay, good. So that's very important because a lot of people don't. I had that and didn't take it. What the heck? I mean, it's like really so interesting, but a lot of people don't. I'm curious on what you think about that for people who don't. Like somebody who burns out and is like, oh shit, I have to earn. And then I want to know how long you took, so these are two questions in one, how long you took before you started working on what was next for you.
Yeah, I think, I think for the people that feel like they need to earn, it's really important to figure out something so that you can start to have safety, so that you're not in scarcity.
Yep.
But you want to avoid jumping into something that's just going to be like very full on. Like you want to be in a place where you can find, we'll call it like a bridge job.
Yes.
That's like
a low
aligned.
stress, something that will like carry you through while you think about your next move. They'll provide you the safety.
Yeah, exactly. And like you can think strategically about it and be like, okay, well, what actually would feel really energizing?
Yep.
Or what do I want to learn that I didn't get to learn?
Yep.
Like think about like, what did I love doing in my last company that felt really in flow? And how can I lean into that?
Yep.
You don't want to jump into a situation where you're going to be emotionally exhausted from the politics, from the pressure, from the whatever. But I mean, we are at risk of doing that because I think like coming out of a company where you've been a co-founder, you've been an executive, there's this pressure to be like, I need to take another position like that. Right. Otherwise people will feel like I'm downgrading or I'm falling behind.
Right. So it's like sort of ignore that and do what you need to do for the safety piece of it there.
It's like slow down to speed up.
Got it. You fortunately are able to take a little time. How do you figure out what's next and in alignment for you?
Yeah, I kind of just gave myself the time to do what felt fun because it talks about this idea of integrity as being whole and in sync between kind of your body, your mind, your heart, your soul. Wow. And when you are doing the things that naturally energize you and light you up, those are the things that you're going to be most successful in. And they're also related to how you're supposed to be of service to the world. And so I'm like reading this book about how like you're just supposed to follow the breadcrumbs. Like you don't have to have it all figured out. It's just like what lights me up. So I read that book. I feel very inspired. And so I start to think about like, okay, like before I got it in my head, I had to be this head of finance person. Like what used to light me up?
Yeah.
And what did I actually love to do in my job that I can lean into now? So I take a graphic design course.
Ooh, I love this. Yeah. Okay.
Just because I like used to love that aspect of, the company.
Okay.
I start writing and expressing myself online and just like sharing the experience of burnout and navigating this time because I felt so unexpressed before.
Yes.
And so this was like very much needed.
And you were
outlet.
in a non-creative role in a lot of ways. It was probably, you really needed that.
I did. And then from the book, Martha Beck also has a coaching program and I like have little clues. I've always been very interested in personal development and spirituality. And so I was kind of like, well, why don't I just do a coaching program and see where it leads me? And I loved it. And I start coaching founders and just like people in my life. And I'm like, I love this. I decided to create the brand identity for a new brand around this coaching business. I like start writing a biweekly newsletter and like start amassing people that are resonating with what I'm talking about. And eventually it just gets to the point where I'm like, okay, this is going to be my business. And I launch it.
Do you, in this business, experience burnout for yourself?
That's such a good question. I've been, I think, forced to not.
Yeah.
I've been forced to develop a healthier relationship with rest because as I've been building this business and recovering from the original burnout, I've continued up until maybe 6 months ago, struggling with chronic fatigue and chronic illness and chronic pain.
Yep.
And so I would have this experience of like, if I would work a few full days or have a really hard workout, I would have to stay in bed for a day.
So the difference now though is that you're paying attention to your body, where earlier you said you like when you were building, you completely ignored it with the gist, until it was too difficult to ignore. Yeah. You're probably been paying attention much earlier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. My relationship with my body is so much better. My relationship with my intuition and what lights me up. And so I notice so much faster when I'm like, oh, I'm pushing myself and this doesn't feel good. And I'm forcing things that aren't feeling in alignment because I think it's what I should do to grow this business and be successful, instead of listening to the inner voice of like, this person seems great. I'm really excited by this opportunity, blah, blah, blah.
So a founder comes to you, they say, I'm burnt out. How do you help guide them to the right choices for them? And is it possible to re-energize? Is it possible? Or when you get to burnout, are you past the point of no return? Are you always past the point of no return?
It depends on the level of burnout. There's like a quiz online that you can take that tells you it's like 1 to 10.
Okay.
I think, 10, 9 or 10, which is kind of like where I was close to.
Yeah.
10 would be like you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like something's wrong. Earlier stages of burnout, I think you totally can. Again, it's kind of up to you, and only you really know what's going to be right for you. But if I do get a founder that is burnt out, there's lots of things that I want to look at with them and understand. People get burnt out because they have a chronically activated nervous system. That's like what causes it. They're constantly in a state of fight or flight or freeze, and they aren't having moments to come down into a parasympathetic state. And so part of, I think, an important step is creating some awareness of that and creating opportunities for them to complete the stress cycle, to learn how to regulate their nervous systems. Because when you are working out of this place of like fear, like it's just like a vicious circle. You feel like you need to be always on, you're multitasking, you're reactive to everything, and then it just like builds on itself, right? And so an important part is pulling them out of that loop and figuring out the tools and resourcing to be able to do that.
That's super interesting. I think that I go through phases that are like that, and I self-pull out.
That's good.
And then I get back in, and then I self-pull out. Like because it's interesting. I know what you said about the reactivity. Like if I'm in a good space, I could be busy and multitasking, which I always am, which I think is part of just how my brain works anyway. But I think that what I notice about my own burnout is when I am reactive to everything.
Yeah.
And if I step back, I mean, I think a lot of breath work and things like that really, really do help.
Yeah, definitely the tools that can like pull you out in the moment.
Yep.
Super helpful.
Yep.
I think it's also important to get at like what's happening underneath.
Yes.
So like I coach a lot in parts work. That's a big tool that I use. And so it's like, why are your protectors so active? What are they protecting you from? Like, why are you feeling the need to like multitask and be reactive and work longer hours than you say that you're going to and things like that? And usually they're protecting a part of you that got hurt through some kind of trauma or something when you were younger or throughout your life. So for instance, like I have had a very active perfectionist, and they are the ones that needs to control everything and not delegate and do things myself and take it all on and read it in email like 17 times before sending it, because they're protecting this hurt part of me that didn't feel that they were enough. A lot of people might have an inner people pleaser. That's another protector.
A lot of people, you might have 100%. You nailed it. But it was just in case. Like, yes. Why did they have an inner people pleaser, baby? Because they were the oldest daughter that was doing everything for everyone and taking care of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Oh, that's really, really, really insightful. So, okay, a couple of things I want to know, because I have a lot of founders who listen to this. A lot of them are burnt out. How do they get in touch with you?
They can find me on my website, withincoaching.co. My Instagram is Roslyn McLarty, ROSLYN MCLARTY. Same with LinkedIn. And then my newsletter is within.beehive.com.
Amazing. And I want you to answer this for me. Ready? I want you to complete this sentence. I want your audience who may be struggling and in it and there, I want them to know what's one thing you really, really want them to know right now?
I want them to know that they are worthy and whole, and that they have access to a deeper level of wholeness and wisdom and creativity and resourcefulness inside of themselves that is going to be the thing that guides them in their life, in their company, out of any situation.
Perfect. I think what I want them to know is that so often we are attached to outcome. Mm-hmm. What did I build what's my revenue? What did I sell my business for? What did I, all of these things, when in fact, it's simply like the living, that's the whole point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just always think, having gone through an exit and gone through an outcome, had an outcome, it wasn't the outcome at all. It was the experience of like living it and going through it and being there. And to me, that's like so much in listening to you, so much of what I hear, like, it's irrelevant in a way that you left. The point is the journey to get to where you needed to be. And
the feeling that you think you will get out of the outcome, whether that's acceptance, love, freedom, connection, whatever it is, find a way to bring those things into the journey.
Right now. Mm-hmm. Yes. Right now. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. It's like people always think, especially with exits, like it's always about the money. Mm-hmm. And money is only a tool. It's what does that money do for you? And you can probably, much of that, outside of the safety level, much of that you can do right now.
Exactly.
It's 100%. And the wholeness that you needed to experience. And so I just want to honor that for you and just say thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, I love that so much.